everybody. Hey, Ben, how's it going?
Not too shabby.
Good. Well, everybody, we are back with another pre recorded episode for you. We had some great content ideas, and so we wanted to create some videos for you guys and to put in the Facebook group. And our hope is that you guys will continue the conversation. So when this airs, please hop in and, engage in the comments, ask questions, all of that, because we'll have someone from one of our teams in there, answering the questions. And if they don't know, then they will get it on to either myself or Ben, and we can get answers for you. So that's what the purpose of these. We want you to continue to engage, and we're excited to keep having these conversations with you. So thanks for joining us.
Absolutely.
So today we're going to talk about something that probably isn't on very many people's minds, right, Ben?
Not until it's too late.
Uh-huh, exactly. And that is equipment care. And I mean, I remember, so when I was in high school, I was in this singing group called On Call. It was through a ministry of Youth for Christ. And we would go and we would do concerts in churches every Sunday. And it was a lot of Sundays where I was out doing these concerts, and we had our portable setup that we set up, tear down. We had this old rickety bus that they painted flames on the side of. But anyway, it was like we learned how to wrap the cables, but it's a lot more than that. It's more than just properly wrapping cables and making sure you have foam in your microphone case so that they don't get wrecked. And this
Right.
isn't just for mobile people. This is for like churches in general, sound systems in general, something that I don't think a lot of people really even think about, like you said, until it's too late. So where do we start, Ben? Where do we start when we're thinking about
Well, you got
equipment
me
care?
thinking, and I actually had cable coiling in here, but obviously we need to keep it short. So I took that out because I think that could be a show all to itself. It takes a little bit of
True.
time to learn to do it properly. So maybe
Yep.
that's a future show. Stay tuned. If you're interested in seeing that show, let us know and we'll give that some priority.
Yeah.
Um, I'm actually going to kind of cheat a little bit today because I've put together a PowerPoint that I've given before, and I'm going to all the visuals are there. So I'm just
Yeah.
going to run through that, and we'll have a little fun with this, I think.
Cool.
Um, I want to start off kind of here in that it doesn't really matter how nice your stuff is if you don't take care of it.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, if you have, really, well, and of course, even if your stuff isn't nice, you should still take care of it.
Right, right.
I have no idea how much a car like this costs because I know I can't afford it, but I know that if I had one, I wouldn't let it look like that.
Yeah. Yep.
So I think these things are like $175,000 or something. So
I think you're pretty close. Yep.
yeah, for that, you know what? You could almost have a Digico SD7 mixing console for that, and I'd rather have the mixing console. So
Yes. Yes.
here we can see another very expensive car on fire. No idea why, but the point is, if you don't schedule maintenance, your equipment will schedule it for you.
Yep.
So
Absolutely.
you want to do maintenance because you do not have a time machine. Of course, you recognize this
Yes.
from Back to the Future. Interestingly enough, I think we just hit the date for Back to the Future 3 where they came back to, I think. Was it
Oh, yeah. I think you're right. In
2020? Yeah.
2020, wasn't
Yeah.
it? Yeah.
Well, moral of the story, you don't have a time machine. So you want to do this ahead of time and not wait until it's too late because then it
That's right.
is too late.
Too late.
These are all, I apologize, friends. I have some dirty pictures to show you.
Oh no.
Oh no, he
Oh
didn't go there.
no,
Yes, he
Ben.
did.
He did.
Uh, I'm moving on. All right. No, no saving that joke.
Uh-uh.
Nope, too late. All right. These are actual pictures that our technicians have taken where they have
Wow.
gone and found things, or pictures that friends have sent to me. Uh,
Wow.
First thing I want to point out is that there are fans. The round dust circle you see is
Oh my
actually a
goodness.
fan grate, and fans are there for a reason. They're there to move air through your gear, and I can promise you that the air is not moving through these very effectively at all.
Wow.
So keep fans clean.
Wow.
Keep vents unobstructed, and never let your stuff look like this, or you may end up in one of my future presentations.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
This is the inside of one of those amplifiers, and what we're looking at are the row of transistors, and this is what generates the heat in an amplifier,
Hmm.
and also, which is why it needs to be vented, and also what produces the sound. And you can see that they have a blanket of dust on them.
Wow.
Um, Ironically, that thing in the center with the red plastic
Yep.
electrical tabs on it, that's a thermal sensor. That's detecting how hot this thing is getting. So you can see the temperature is a concern to this thing, and it's keeping
Yeah.
an eye on that.
Yeah.
Uh, so how do we clean our stuff? Well, real quick, again, dust is the enemy, and it's
Okay.
also very easy to address. We'll use canned air, which you can see in the list down below, something like this.
Oh,
The
yeah.
reason that we use canned air and not compressed air is when you compress air, there's moisture in air. And when it comes out, it will be essentially spraying water on your stuff.
Okay.
Basically, canned air is dry, so use
Okay.
canned air. The other thing, if you're opening devices, the device you see on the screen there is a static free mat and a wrist strap, and that helps prevent ESD, electrostatic discharge, which is kind of like a lightning bolt to your gear. So if you're not comfortable getting into this, have a pro do it.
Yeah.
Repair shop or somebody can clean it out. But many times with a lint-free cloth or just a paintbrush, you can kind of knock that stuff loose on the outside, and you can spray it free with the can of air.
Okay.
One thing to note with fans and vents is which way is the direction of air travel. You don't want to blow air into something, if
Right.
it's going to suck that, or you want to, suck that dirt through and get it even deeper inside. So
Yep.
just kind of use some thought process with that.
Okay.
Even surface dust is a problem.
Yeah.
It's a pretty nice, expensive mixing console here. And, if your equipment's getting this dirty on the outside, which
Imagine what it looks like on the inside.
exactly. And again, fans are going to suck that dirt inside, uh, but sometimes it's unavoidable. If you're doing
Sure.
like I know every time I do sound for a rodeo, I die a little inside because there's dirt everywhere.
Yeah, I suppose.
I do look good in the cowboy hat, though. It turns out. But anyway,
That's funny.
a couple things we can use to clean faders. It depends on the type of fader. Now, bear in mind, a lot of digital consoles have motorized faders, and we do
Hmm.
not have time to get into all the nuances. So consult your manufacturer's specific, instructions. But here we can see like some deoxid F5, that sort of thing. Feel free to contact us, and we'll be happy to get
Yeah.
those answers to you as well. This is the inside of a moving light.
Oh, wow.
Same. These aluminum ridged things you see, those are heat sinks. Their job is to dissipate heat away from the circuit. The enemy of electronics always is heat. Heat is the enemy,
Yeah.
and dust will help heat stay in there where we don't want it. So,
Right.
uh, you know, a little cleaning will go a long way. There's lots of things that we might have to clean on a lighting fixture, and here we can see this fan housing is not all that dirty. Actually, it's not too bad. But inside we have optics and lenses. We can use things like lens paper or methyl alcohol to clean those. We don't want to scratch them and gouge them.
Yeah.
Uh, Sockets, that's probably a bit dated there. I left it in because there are still a lot of churches that use incandescent
Yeah.
fixtures or older things. But as
Yep.
we move to LED, that's becoming less and less.
Okay.
And then belts, if you have a moving light, that's what connects the various parts within the light and helps them move.
Hmm.
Belts can get loose or worn, and they should just be maintained just like you would in your car.
Yep.
And kind of a telltale sign for our technicians is if we see metal shavings on magnets, and magnets, of course, well, they're magnetic, so
Right.
they'll grab those metal shavings and hold them there for us. That shows us that something is scraping and wearing, and that a big
Okay.
problem is coming down the road.
Okay. Huh.
I am going through this really fast because we keep our shows pretty short. The nice
Yeah.
thing is you can hit the pause button and the rewind button, and you can just watch all you want. So
Yes. Again and again.
fog machines, all kinds of things to bear in mind with fog machines. Regular cleaning is a really good thing. Most water-based fog fluid, and most fog machines are, we can simply clean. You can buy fog cleaner, but you know what? You can make your own. Use distilled water only. Don't use filtered water. Use distilled water
Okay.
and white vinegar, about a 4-to-1 water to vinegar mix. And, just flush it through the fogger and then run some fluid back through,
Okay.
and your machine will be nice and clean and happy for a long time. If the nozzle is really jammed up and gunked up, you can use a pipe cleaner
Okay.
or like a welding tip cleaner or something.
Okay.
Uh, Two things: be careful, brass will scratch easily, and two, make sure your fogger is turned off. If and has been cooled. If you've had the fogger on, you found out
Oh.
it was gummed up, and you decided to go clean it, and you grab
Uh-oh.
that brass nozzle with your bare hands, you're going to be very sad and very
Yes.
burned.
Mm.
So don't do
Okay.
that. Anyway, we just talked about that. Run the fluid through till it's nice, clear liquid, and then you can go ahead and put some fog fluid back through. A lot of times, after I put fog fluid back through, I'll put the machine at an upward angle of 45 degrees, and that helps air bubbles to get to the top and get through right away. So the machine will kind of initially spit a little bit, and then once the fog is coming out in consistent plumes, then you're good.
Mm-hmm.
Here we can, this one, you don't have to take it apart to run cleaner through it, but this one here I've taken apart and you can see there's some corrosion on the fans.
Yeah.
And there's some, just need some TLC. So, we had to do a little cleaning inside, whatnot. That's a bit more surgical than hopefully you have to get into.
Okay. I have a great fog machine story. Do you want to
Okay.
hear it?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. So, my husband was a youth pastor for a lot of years back when we were first married, and we had the youth band doing a worship night. And so I was leading with the youth band, and we thought, like, oh, we have this fog machine that we use, in the youth center. Let's like bring it into worship. Well, we never used one in the worship center before. So the people had no idea. They just didn't really know, even they didn't expect any of it. And we had these cool, like huge 50-gallon bins that had cutouts, and so we put the fog machine like inside so that the fog would kind of ooze out of of these bins. And we almost had a fire drill because
That's
it startled the
fantastic.
people so bad. They were like, "What's happening? The stage is smoking." And incidentally, I think there was actually something wrong with the fog machine, probably because we never cleaned it because it was sputtering fog. And so it just made me think of that when I had a flashback when you were talking about cleaning fog machines, because it's probably because we didn't clean it. It spit out more fog than was necessary and caused quite the uproar in the sanctuary. And it's a funny story.
That's a good story. Yeah, maybe a future episode on using fog machines in worship spaces, because you can also set off fire alarms. So,
Yeah.
uh,
Yes. If you don't thoroughly terrify your people, you might actually set off the fire alarm.
that's pretty
Yeah.
funny though.
Yeah. That's great. Continue. I just thought I would
Yeah.
throw that in there.
Storage. You mentioned, foam for
Yes.
microphones, that sort of thing. What we're looking at here is actually an intercom system. You can see wireless belt packs and
Oh, sure.
headsets. But the point is, everything has a home and it's going to be well protected. And now, if you're not on the road with your stuff and it's staying inside your worship space, maybe just a drawer is sufficient or some cabinets. But again, proper care and feeding will help your equipment last a long time.
Yeah.
By contrast, this is
Yes.
a university that bought an intercom system from us and then had problems with it and sent it back for us to look at. And they didn't want to spend the money for the case initially. And we found a lot of broken antennas and we're like, yeah, well, there's your problem right there. So,
Yeah. Oh, bummer. Yes.
yeah. So good cases will prevent harm. Actually, here you can see some of my hardworking colleagues
Yeah.
loading the truck after a show. And, you can just only imagine what happens in these things going down the road. And, you might say, well, we don't go anywhere. But some churches do. Portable churches have to, set up and
Yep.
tear down all the time.
Yep.
So the ability to safely transport that gear in and out of the building and to and from wherever it needs to go, or just living in the trailer, it's a lot
Yeah.
easier to stack things in cases than it is to just throw a pile of lights in there.
Right.
So,
Exactly.
or whatever the case might be.
Yeah.
A couple of quick things: if you're transporting gear, always buckle up. Here you can
Okay.
see some E-track, secure things. Motion leads to force, and that leads to damage.
Yes.
So you don't want stuff moving around.
Yep.
Try to keep it where it needs to be. A few variety of things here, bull rings and whatnot that you can
Yeah.
use to secure your gear with. Regularly inspect your hardware. Here we can see a clamp and a safety cable. Be sure to just regularly check these things for wear, for cracks, for anything that would indicate that it's not safe to use.
Yeah.
It's just takes a second. It's something to look at. And this is my attempt at humor. So anyway, you has a screw loose. That's something to keep an eye on. Is
Yeah. Yep.
screws can come loose both on the exterior of things and also on the interior of things.
Yep.
And here we see a knockoff non-Neutrik brand speak-on connector, sort of one of the low-cost Chinese ones, and those tend to be problematic sometimes.
Okay.
And we had no signal, and they're checking everything, the amps, everything. Why isn't it working? Well, one of the wires
What
came
is that?
loose inside, loose screw. So
Huh. Wow.
loose screw can cause all kinds of problems.
Yeah, absolutely.
Best to find them before they come all the way loose and just tighten them back down, because it could mean, a guard coming off a piece of equipment, or,
Yep.
we could spend an hour talking about places where loose screws can be a problem.
Yeah.
So periodic checks. You could also use things like Loctite and stuff to keep screws from backing out unintentionally.
Okay.
So let's run a quick. I think every church should have a toolbox,
Yeah,
and
this is good.
certainly you probably do for your general maintenance, and that's fine. Maybe you can share and be good neighbors. But I think every AV tech should have a basic toolbox. Every
Okay.
church AV department should have a basic toolbox, no matter how small, even if it's your own personal stuff, whatever that you bring in on Sunday. It's just good to have them. Screwdrivers, can't say enough about a screwdriver. I can tell you that in my nearly 30 years of doing this, 90% of the things that I fixed was with a screwdriver.
Huh. Yeah. Yep.
It's amazing. Plus, you can't get into anything to fix it without a screwdriver. So,
Right. Exactly.
a good multimeter
Okay.
goes a long way. In fact, mine doesn't leave. Mine's right here beside me, so it doesn't
Perfect.
doesn't go that.
You take it everywhere.
Yeah, doesn't go that far away from one. I got about 6 or 7 of these things. I think you can't have too many of them.
Right. Right.
But this will, just tell us: do we have power here? Do we expect to have power here? Should we have power here? Yes,
Yep.
no. I mean, you sort of follow the chain of events.
Yep.
Be careful, of course, when testing voltage. Understand that if you touch a probe and it's connected to something that's got voltage, now you have voltage.
Right.
Uh, Shameless plug. I hadn't intended to put this in here, but it seems like a good place to do it. I do have a DVD that I put out years ago called Geek Boot Camp. We have a retired state electrical inspector of 25 years who does a cool little bit
Hmm.
on how to safely use a multimeter, and tons of cord wrapping is in there,
Cool.
tons of other stuff.
That's awesome. I
Yeah,
love
I think
that.
it's $29. And I'm sure there's better things you can buy for $29, but not for
Well, that's
me.
pretty
So,
cool. Yeah, that's really cool.
so hop over to our site, nlfxpro.com, and grab the Geek Boot Camp DVD.
Very cool.
Wire cutters, pretty handy to have just a
Yep.
decent little set of side cutters. Another shameless plug, but this is fantastic. This is actually a
Yeah.
product from us, from NLFX. It
Yep.
is the Moat, the mother of all testers. And you can see it tests just about every cable you could possibly have in your AV system.
Yep.
Uh,
That's so cool.
99% of your problems are going to be something simple like that, broken cable, something. This, when we were talking about the loose screw, this is what identified that problem. Very quick. You go, well, your cable's bad. Look at that.
Yep. Wow.
So
Yeah, that's so cool. I love that thing.
thank you.
It's
Yeah,
awesome.
we tried to come out with a Moat 2. We tried to improve it, and we got a great big pile of scrap metal in our tech department for various things we tried, and ultimately we said no, we got it right the first time. Just leave it alone. So
Yeah, great.
yeah, it's the
That's
return
great.
of the Moat. We got more back in stock.
Awesome.
Soldering iron, if you know how to solder, it's a pretty useful skill. Again, it's a quick way to fix some of your little problem things, and you don't have to get into circuit board level repair, but you'd be
Right.
amazed how many times just something simple, broken cable connection or something, you can address. So,
Yeah.
which of course wire strippers go right in line with that. Pretty
Right.
hard to solder something that has insulation on it.
Right. Exactly.
Decent utility knife.
Yep.
I actually don't go anywhere. Now this isn't the utility. I have that in my toolbox, but I also don't go anywhere just without a knife.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Same.
just
Yeah, my
handy to have,
husband too. He just has one all
right?
the time. Yep.
Keep it sharp, keep it clean, take good care of it.
Yep.
Very handy to have. And then some basic, pliers, and you don't need everything that's in the picture. I just grabbed something off the internet, but just a
Yeah.
few, again, you could pick up one of these sets around Christmas time. They always have them on sale. It's a good time to make an AV toolbox, so
Yep. Yeah.
Father's
That's
Day, I think, is
great.
a pretty good weekend for tools too. E-tape,
Okay.
great for a variety of things. I mean, I
Yes.
just like it's the greatest thing ever. I have e-tape in like every room of my house, I think.
Yeah.
Uh, when I say e-tape, I mean electrical tape or vinyl
Yeah.
tape. Some spare connectors, not a bad
Okay.
idea, maybe.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't think
Um,
about that. That's true.
yeah, you just pick some of the usual suspects. What do you
Yep.
do if something? Of course, the top row we see, Powercon. What do you do if a Powercon connector gets broke,
Right.
and you don't have another one? Well, guess you wait for another one.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Whereas in 2 minutes with a screwdriver, you could replace it. These don't require any soldering or anything.
Okay.
Where the connectors on the bottom do, except for the NEMA power plug you see at the bottom. That also is screwdriver work.
Okay.
Again,
Okay.
if you're not comfortable or competent, your church probably has an electrician who could help you out with that real quick.
Yeah, for sure.
And your electrician probably comes to church with a knife and tools. They probably do.
They're probably in their truck or whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I can't ever leave it at home. You know?
Yeah. Yep.
Boy, I tell you what, cannot tell you how many times a
Yep.
20-cent fuse has
Yes.
shut down a $200,000 rig. Have some spare fuses. By the way, we sell fuses in 10 packs for like $2.
Okay.
I don't think we even make any money on it. It doesn't matter. It's We want your rig to keep working. So go
Yeah.
take an inventory. Pause this video right now. Go take an inventory of the fuses you need and call us and order some fuses so you
Yeah.
have them. It takes 5 seconds to change a fuse, and you're back up and running.
Yeah. That's not amazing.
Many fuse holders actually now in modern equipment with your IEC C13 computer style power connector. I'm sure I have one of those laying around too. Actually, let me look.
What is in Ben's toolbox today, everyone?
It's not even my toolbox. It's on the floor of my
What
office at
is
home.
on the floor of Ben's office today?
How sad is that? Oh, well, there's another multimeter there.
Oh, there you go.
I, you should try living in my house, let alone my head.
It
So
reminds me of like the cartoons where they like have this toolbox that's like endless and they're just throwing all these things behind them and there's like chairs flying on cats and like
it's kind of like that. Yeah, it's kind of like that. So I don't have an actual power inlet, but I do have this is an IEC C13 connector. We see those
okay.
on almost all of our gear. A lot of these fuse holders now have a place to store a spare fuse holder inside.
Okay.
Now, most manufacturers do not ship it with a spare fuse in there, but
Got
the
it.
holder will accommodate one. So
Okay.
after you go take inventory of your fuses and you call us and you place an order for the fuses you need, go put the spares in each device. So it's right there when you pop it
Yep.
open and you go, fuse is blown. Your spare is right there. You don't have to make a
Oh,
trip back
great.
to the toolbox or anything.
It's right there. Cool.
Yeah.
Zip ties.
Yeah. Self-explanatory.
Yep. We just love them.
Tape measure, good tape measures, really handy to have. I think,
Yep.
spare
Batteries.
batteries.
Oh, yes. The perils. Yep.
Little, here's just an example how you might have some connectors and some adapters around.
Sure.
These are not replacement parts; they're just ways to get from one way to another, and sometimes that can be really handy to solve a problem.
Yep.
Gaff tape, something
Yep.
else that I always have
There
around
it
me.
is.
I, at risk of getting some weird reactions, I even have a roll of gaff tape in my bedroom, and it's not as exciting as you'd think or anything like that. It's super handy to have everywhere. So
Yes.
you just never know, because gaff tape is a great way to tape down cables and things that are temporary, and it's going to come off without leaving any residue, that sort of thing. So
Right.
these things are super cool because they're inexpensive and they quickly identify some problems with your electrical. I mean, they're like $5, and they'll tell you if you have miswired outlet or missing ground or reversed or something like that. Go get yourself one of those. This particular model also will test for GFCIs.
Hmm.
So your ground fault circuit interrupters, it will test those. Those I think are maybe $6 or $7.
Okay. Oh no.
Yes, and
Okay.
and last and definitely not least, safety gear.
Yep.
Make sure when you're using your tools that you're being safe. Protective eyewear
Yep.
is almost always a must. Protective gloves when necessary. That sort of thing.
Yeah.
So
Awesome. Well,
there is
that's
these
great,
super quick.
Ben.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. I think just it's even helpful for people to know that like yeah, this is good to do. It's good to pursue this. It's good to have these things on hand because they are useful and helpful and you'll thank yourself down the road when you have an issue that has been addressed or prepared for, right? Because some of that is preparatory, which is huge because if you have something go wrong on a Sunday morning, you can hopefully quickly remedy it and not have the whole service be without sound because of, like you said, a 10-cent fuse or whatever. So, yeah, that's great. Well,
Exactly. Yeah. If your service is shut down for the day, it's a week till you have another Sunday, so
yeah,
you don't want that. I mean, almost all of these things are quickly addressable and inexpensive and easy to fix
awesome.
with a little know-how and some preparation. And
Yeah,
like I said, if you don't schedule your maintenance, your equipment will schedule it for you.
that's right. That's so good. Awesome. Well, thanks, Ben. And thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Let us know if you have questions or if you need direct links to some of the things that Ben referenced. Just post that in the comments, and someone from our team will reply and get you the right links if you have trouble finding it. But the nlfxpro.com website's pretty easy to navigate. I've been on it. So I think if you type in those things, you'll get what you need. So
Thank you.
yeah, thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you next time.